everyone. We're here, and it's so excited to have my fabulous friend, Mr. Luke, here. And, we're going to talk a lot about speaking and kind of the spiritual part of speaking, and it's going to be so much fun. So how are you doing, Luke?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm currently getting ready for my wedding in 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
I am at the moment remixing songs together for a dance that we're doing. So that was me.
Nice. Gosh, that was 28 and a half years ago for me. So
Oh, nice. Nice. Maybe
so
I can watch one of your lives about marriage advice.
and well, it's about commitment, right? It's really what it is. Once you decide to do something, are you really committed to it? So, because nothing is easy, even public speaking, right? And really being who you are and being real authentic. I always hate that word, but it's really true. You got to be yourself.
Hmm. A lot of people want to become public speakers, but it's the same C word, right? It's commitment. They don't really follow it through. They think it's easy, and it can be, but it also takes persistence, right, and dedication.
Well, and it's not even just the speaking part, right? Which is what most people get into their whole head is what should I show up? And it's really the business part and how are you being the person on stage as the person on Facebook Live, as the person on, sitting in front of them. It's that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, being a speaker is the most crazy spiritual journey you can possibly go on. It's everything, right? You are there on stage, people to see everything, bare in your heart, bare in your soul. And on top of that, you're building a business most of the time too. So you have that whole entrepreneurship journey. It tests you.
Oh yeah.
It takes a special kind of person to be a speaker.
It's multifaceted.
Yeah.
Even, what I've found for most people is when they start off on their journey, they get really stuck on one little detail that usually means nothing, right? They get stuck on that one thing instead of moving and growing. Did you find that at all for yourself? Because I know I hit that quite often for myself.
Yeah, I think it's something that everybody goes through on this journey, right?
Yeah.
um, I I'm so grateful and blessed on this crazy journey to have had amazing people to mentor me and coach me and guide me. So I've actually managed to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that many people go through because I invested heavily in myself to get people to teach me from their mistakes.
Oh yeah.
And and this is one of the reasons why I'm a speaker now. And I know it's a big part of what you do too, right? Is you want to help these people. So instead of it taking them 5 years, they can do it in 5 months, right? It's like, let's, and I know that's why when we spoke last time, it resonated a lot with what you're doing with your Public Speakers Association and stuff. Like, really, really great.
Yeah, I know. We just kind of clicked it off and we're like, oh yeah, let's play. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the founder of what is called the Standout Speakers Academy. So we are a one-stop shop for everything you need to be a great public speaker. We have coaches, mentors, online courses, but the thing that makes us different is we actually have a stage where people can come and practice on every single week. Because a lot of people learn the theory about public speaking, but then they have no idea how to get gigs. How do they actually get practice? And so we run events every single week in London. We're based in London in the UK, but I have mentees all over the world. And we're looking to start up standout speakers academies in other countries too. So we're franchising out what we do. So we've already got some people in America who are going to start it up. Some people in Australia are interested. So we're going global now this year, which is really great too. And but the thing that makes me different about my speaking is I say that I'm spiritual and sexy. So I'm a spiritual, sexy speaker. because I have another business, which is my Academy of Conscious Sexuality. So I actually teach people about consciousness and sexuality and how to really enjoy that side of life and how they can have sex more consciously rather than unconsciously, which is what most people do. Even in marriages, most people aren't happy in that area of their life. And I don't know many of the speaker trainers that teach about sex and intimacy and speaker training. And I bring it all together in a really fun way.
That's awesome. So when you are out there and you're trying to connect with people, when you talk about spirituality and speaking, what do you really mean? Is it like a core value in their soul, or is it something different?
For me, you can really feel a difference between speakers that are connected and speakers that aren't. When I see speakers on stage who have like learned a script and maybe you can hear them saying the right words, but there's just no feeling in it. Like, you know, that there's no integrity here, that they don't actually believe this. Like,
Right.
and people's bullshit detectors are so finely tuned now. Like, they can just feel it. They know that you're full of it, right? And so what we teach is, how do you be connected? How do you first figure out who you really are? What does your soul want to express? What does your beingness want to express? Why are you here on this planet? There's a reason. When you talk about that, people will radiate towards you. The example I really like to use is that there's a guy who was teaching about property, and he was really good at property, but no one would come to his events. No one wanted to hear him speak, but he really knew his stuff. And when you asked him, like, tell me about your life, he had the craziest life. And I said, nobody wants to hear you talking about property. They want to know, how are you even alive? Like, how did you make anything of yourself? Like, tell them about that. Tell them about your tenacity, about that, and they will come to you. But most people, when they're speaking, they speak about what they're good at, not about what they're really embodying.
Right. Even for myself, I knew the time. It's so clear in my head, the moment that I went from trying to be a speaker to being a speaker was the moment I went from trying to be a speaker and whoever the speaker person was in my head to just being Tonya, and stop talking from my head and the scripts like you were talking about, and talk from my heart. I mean, if this is what always gets me, is every time I talk to people, when I ask them anything about their business or what their life, they could just rattle on and on and on. But yet somehow when they're on stage, they feel like they have to put it all into this perfect little bundle to show up as an expert. And then they wonder why they're not connecting with the audience.
I think there's a part to it where you need to have some structure, because some speakers, they just waffle on and on and on, like babbling away, and then at the end of it you kind of feel a bit inspired, but there's nothing tangible for you to take away. So I think there is definitely a place for structure, but it's to make that structure subconscious. There's a great guy in England, he's called Daniel Priestley, and he says, if someone can tell that you've rehearsed your presentation, then you haven't rehearsed it enough. It's like, this structure should be subconscious. So you know you're going to take people on a journey, you know you're going to give them loads of value, but it's not scripted. It's in a way that is genuine, and you're really feeling what the audience needs, because you can have the exact same presentation if you use PowerPoint, but every time you deliver it, it can be completely different, because the energies in the room need something different from you.
Exactly. I love that you're talking about this today, because it is one of the biggest problems I find. You know, even like my virtual summit is Thursday, and people always ask me after they finish their presentation, how was it? You know, and I can always tell when someone's reading, right? Because it's all audio. So that you can tell that they're like, they've got their script and they're just like reading line by line, because there's words in there you're like, you would never actually use that word. You know, no one would ever actually use that word. Why are you using that word? You know, it sounds so good, but but there's that disconnect.
There is, and some speakers are really good at learning scripts. Right? If you're willing to put the effort in, like a trained actor, you know, an actor gets a script, they can read that script to you. They can make you cry, they can make you laugh, but most people don't have those skills. I actually did plays and musicals when I was younger. I loved it. So I learned how to read scripts. So that is a skill that I do possess, but most people won't take the year. It took me years of practicing to get to that level. And if you want to be that kind of speaker, cool, but it's the really slow way. Like the fast way is just to connect to yourself, speak your truth, feel what the people need and give it to them.
Yes, I love that. When I created my own, what do I talk about? I loved the fact that every time I spoke, it was like an experiment, especially early on, right? What will the audience like? What do they not like? How do they, react to this story? How do they react to that story? And I love trying different things. And now, it's pretty much, I know what to talk about because I've done it so much. Most people don't want to go through that pain of finding what doesn't work. And to me, that's the exciting part, is to really connect with the audience, is to find out what really resonates with them, really, not what's in your head you think is going to do it, but what really resonates.
Yeah, I have a fun process, which is super spiritual. So for those of you who are watching, let me know if you resonate. Do you class yourself as a spiritual speaker? Do you class yourself as connected? I used to be a corporate trainer, so I was very disconnected. If you met me 5 years ago, I didn't believe in energy. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in angels. I thought it was all a load of crap. And I was very physics and left-brained. And now I stand on stage in a suit talking about angels. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so fun. And one of the things I do before an event, so usually the night before, but you can do it earlier, is I connect in meditation and I ask my guides to show me, what do these audience need from me tomorrow? And I imagine the energies of the people who are going to be in the room, and I ask them to communicate with me and to show me. And I literally get shown it like a vision. They get shown what I'm going to say, what these people need, and I feel it too. And then before I go on stage, I just set the intention for God, the universe, to channel through me, use me as a vessel for my highest good and the highest good of all, and give these people exactly what they need. And sometimes when I'm on stage, I'm just channeling this stuff through, and I'm on autopilot. I'm just observing. It's just happening. And I hear the stuff that comes out, and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love it. Because I know when I get to any event, it's all about connecting to the people right there, right then, and talking to them and being present. And I think a lot of times people are so connected to what they think they should be saying, right? The script, that they forget that there's real people in front of them that needs something maybe different than what their script is actually, has in it.
Yeah, I think the whole world's shifting. The whole world's shifting. Everyone is starting to wake up, become more conscious, and make better choices. Right? These old tactics that used to work, they're not working so great anymore on people that are more experienced. I still see events where it's thousands of people and they're newbies and they've never played this game before, and you get them to run to the back of the room and they're throwing their credit cards because you've NLP'd them. And that was cool, right? If you want to be that kind of selling speaker. I did that when I started out. I had people running to the back of the room in Malaysia, in Vietnam. It was great. It was really great. I knew my product was good. I knew my intentions were good, but I was fully NLPing people to get them to go to the back of the room. Now, I'm not so much about that. A more educated audience, they see those tricks a mile away anyway. You have to be more real with people now.
Yeah, totally. I think there's like you said, a shift that's happening, and you almost have to, I always believe you always have to kind of keep up with the changes. So that way you don't look like, you've been stuck in 5 years ago, right? You're up on the new way of doing things. And a lot of it is about not repeating things that don't feel good for you, for one thing, because a lot of times we do things because we think we're supposed to do it instead of doing it because it feels good in our heart and it feels great in front of that audience.
Yeah, there's so many things that can trip you up when you're a speaker. So I actually made this ebook called The Top 10 Public Speaking Mistakes and How to Fix Them. So it's the top 10 mistakes that I made, that most of my students made, that I've been mentoring people now for almost 4 years on this public speaking. And so I've seen people of every different ability level and the things that really trip them up. And even, I'm sure you've seen this as well, there's a lot of people who are already professional speakers, but they're just making some really basic mistakes. And it's costing them because they don't get booked for more speaking gigs, or they don't get the invitations to the bigger events because they're just doing these few silly things. So if anyone would like to download my ebook, just message me on Facebook. I'd love for you to connect with me, press follow, send me a message, say that you saw me on Tonya's program, and I will send you my ebook for absolutely free and give you those top 10 mistakes and exactly how to fix them. And if you do those things, magic will happen. Tonya, I know you do a lot of speaking training and stuff, and you've been around for a while. What do you do when you see an experienced speaker making some really fundamental mistakes? Do you ever like offer to give them feedback? It's kind of interesting for me.
Yeah, it all depends on their personality type, because a lot of people get offended. I've been speaking for 20 years, and you're like, okay, what does that got to do with what I see right now? So yeah, I play more with people that are coming into the industry or have been in it for less than 5 years, because I resonate more with them because they're not stuck in that old mindset of the way it should have been done or the professional way or whatever.
Yeah, I really try to give this expert feedback. It's a service I love to offer, because a lot of people have been speaking for 5 years, 10 years, but they still haven't had their big break yet, right? And it's because they're doing those old school tactics, and it's not their fault. Like, that's what they were taught. They went through the traditional speaker training route, which teaches you how to use your PowerPoint presentation and how to learn the script and all this, where to stand and how to do your gestures and all this stuff, right? And create these kind of like
where to walk on the stage and where to point. Don't point. You have to motion your hand. It's like, stop it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I do genuinely feel this, and it's something I'm really looking into, is offering this as a service for people. But I have found when I've approached people to offer them, I call it expert feedback, it's not been so well received so far. So I think I was curious about your experience with it. Let me know, everyone, as well, if you've got any questions about anything. Like, if you are a speaker now, if you're just getting started, like what you think might be tripping you up, I'd love to just serve and give whatever we can.
Exactly. I think that's why I resonate with you so much, because most of us are just like, let me know, how can I help you? What questions do you have? And we're not so stuck in, the procedures of everything. To me, the more we can go out there and help people, change their life, the more the ripple effect continues on.
Yeah, definitely. I have seen how learning public speaking, learning communication affects every single area of your life. When you're confident on stage, you're confident in everywhere else too. It ripples through, like you said. And so I think this is the way we create a massive shift on the planet. I just did a YouTube video actually on my YouTube channel about this ripple effect. Because in my vision, I saw that every person, every speaker that I train up, they go on to then inspire thousands or millions of people.
Yeah.
And so imagine how many speakers you've touched. I know when you were in London, you had like 100 speakers or something there, right?
Yeah.
So that's 100 people who are now going out. They're going to inspire thousands or millions of people, and the ripple effects of that one event you came and did in London, it's changed the whole world.
Exactly. And one of the things too is that we all got to look at, how do we show up with helping each other? A lot of times people are like, well, no one ever helps, I'm all by myself. It's usually because we have that persona of, I can do it all myself, or just not even supporting. I use the example all the time of the phone apps, the little games and stuff. Someone took all that money and time and effort to make a fun game that we get to play for free. Well, it's not free, right? So to me, to spend, $5 with them or something, it helps them continue to do the game that I love, right? Or somebody's program, if I love someone's program, or whatever it is. How are we actually showing up to support the retail store, the whatever you love? Are you supporting them?
Yeah, I do it this way. I have some free things I give people. So I have a free speaker training group with, it's got like 20, 30 different training videos, and we're always updating it. And then once people get a flavor for what we do, then we upsell them to our membership, where we have more in detail training programs and things. So I like giving people the freebies, and then value, and then bring them along. And as well, not everybody has. In my first year doing public speaking training, I invested over £20,000, which is like $25,000. And I know not everyone has that, or they just don't know how to access it. And so we offer this like free platform for people. Then they can learn how to make money, and then hopefully come and buy our courses, trainings, and everything. Because I really don't want money to ever be the reason why someone can't become a speaker.
Oh yeah.
But I also want speakers to know that they have to be resourceful. Like, if money is the only thing stopping you right now, then that's not really an excuse. Like, there's investors, there's people who you can go and ask, there's ways you can get funding, right? If you really want it, you can go and get it.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of playing around with this. We had a speaker at our academy. Every week we have different speakers. So we run an event every Tuesday evening. And last week or the week before, we had a speaker all about money. And it was, can you be spiritual and wealthy? Are the two things mutually exclusive? It was really interesting talk. I enjoyed it very much.
That's awesome. Well, so tell them again how to get a hold of you, and especially to get your free ebook. Yeah,
I like to do something which is to make people take a step. So I want you to take a step. I'm really happy to give you my ebook, but I want you to take a step. So I want you to message me. I want you just to message me and say that you saw me on Tonya's show and you would love my ebook. And I will send it to you absolutely free of charge. You can also check me out on my website if you want to. It's lukescottofficial.com. You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, it's Spiritual Speaking, and YouTube, it's Luke Scott Official. So let's hang out, and I would love to know more about you all. Like, if you want to come speak at our events, we always are looking for new amazing speakers. So I know you have a big network of speakers, and if your network are in America, for example, they could come to London and then they become international speakers.
Yay!
Yeah, it's really nice. I go over to America quite often to do speaking gigs and radio interviews and stuff like that over there. So I'm all about collaboration. I think this is one of the other things that I really liked about you is we had the same idea that, we're both in a similar industry, but competition is this separation game. It's completely to hold us back and keep us small. And when we collaborate, magic happens, right? There's abundance for everybody. There's no need to fight over scraps, and there's so much available for everyone. And I think this is where the world is coming to now. I'm going to share a video straight after this. It's an amazing video where someone has edited the song. I actually saw it on your profile, Imagine by John Lennon.
Yeah,
and awesome. With all the different world leaders on. It's just imagine that there are no countries and we can all just be one, right? It's like so beautiful.
It was beautiful. I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine how long it took them to make that video, but wow, what an impact. Yeah. Hopefully, the leaders all saw it too.
Yes. Hopefully they're planning to make it for real.
All righty, everyone. We'll get connected with Luke. You want to. He's amazing. He's someone you need to know. And then also we want you to be part of our upcoming phone app called Wildable. So if you don't know about it, where have you been? Go to wildable.com. We also are going to have our Wildable conference next year in Austin, Texas in 2020. So if you're like, I want to be a speaker in Texas, then go over there. There's a link right there to the website. So thank you, Luke, for being on today. And I will see everybody later. Bye, everybody. Bye, Luke.
Bye, everyone.